So hey guys, I feel like this would be a better way to make videos. I think it's a little more personable. You can actually see me a little better. I feel like I'm actually talking to somebody even if I'm not. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at discretionary and essential expenses, which we'll get into a little bit later. First off, let's just look at the first thing we've got here. So it says to make a list of at least 10 things that you spend money on right now or things that you're going to spend money on in the future. So if I go through and think about the different things that I tend to spend money on, I can go ahead and make a list. So here I've listed off 10 things that I spend money on. So I've got tutors, rent, my car payment, Netflix subscription, my Spotify payment. I spend money on groceries. I spend money on YouTube Red for me and my family. My insurance, my loan payment for my college loans, and then I spend a lot of money on video games. Okay, so now that I've got these, it tells me to put them into 2 different categories, okay? So we're gonna take each of these things that we spend money on and we're gonna decide whether that's a want, something we don't really have to have, but we would really like to have, or if it's something that's a need, something that we can't really eliminate, something we have to pay either way. So I'll switch those around into this. So over the wants, we have things that I could live without. You know, I don't have to go to tutors every day for lunch or breakfast before school. I don't have to pay for Netflix. I don't have to listen to Spotify. I don't have to pay for YouTube Red. I could watch the ads. And I don't really have to have video games. I could play the ones I've got, or I could do something else. But if I look at the needs, I cannot just decide not to pay rent because I need a place to live. I could not just not pay my car payment because I need a way to work. Couldn't just not pay for groceries because I have to eat. Couldn't just not pay my loan payment and couldn't just not pay my insurance. And so I want you to go through your things and go ahead and split them up into wants versus needs now. So now that we've went through that, you can kind of see the difference between the wants and the needs of the things you spend on. Let's go ahead and start looking at some finance terms that we're going to be using. So first off, we have your gross income. And that is your income, so all the money that you're bringing in from jobs and other things before they take out all the taxes, okay? So that's before the government comes in and takes all your money. Once all the taxes are deducted, that's known as your disposable income. So that's the money that you get to choose what to do with. Okay? So this money that you get, the disposable income that you get to decide what to do with, everything you spend it on is going to be split into the 2 different categories of wants or needs. So just like it sounds, an essential expense is just going to be an expense that you can't really eliminate. You can't not pay it. You have a choice, but the right choice would be to pay it for sure. So the things that you have in your need column would be considered essential expenses for you. So for example, I'm going to put rent, for example. We have a water bill. If you have to pay your water bill, that's pretty essential, or else you won't have water in your house. Okay? Or you can have medical bills. That's very essential. Okay? And I want you over to the side to add 3 more. So add 3 more examples of essential expenses that you cannot get rid of, that you have to pay every month or every so often. Next, a discretionary expense is going to be an expense that you could eliminate. Okay? It's one that it goes to something that you want, not necessarily something you need. In the book it says that a discretionary expense is a cost for goods or services that are not essential. So it's the things in your want column that you put earlier. So my 3 examples are movie tickets, because again, you don't have to go to the movies. A Netflix subscription, because again, you really don't have to have it, even though it feels like sometimes you definitely do. And then things like Starbucks. those are my 3 examples of discretionary expenses. Again, I want you to add 3 more examples of your own. Just list off 3 things that you can buy or things that you would spend money on that aren't necessarily essential. Okay, so in order to be a wise consumer, somebody who buys things in a responsible manner, we need to keep a balance between these expenses, so between the wants and the needs. To do this, we're going to use basic statistics. A lot of people do. So the branch of mathematics known as statistics involves collecting, organizing, studying, interpreting, analyzing, and reporting data. Data are just sets of information that you can analyze in order to make a better decision. So, measures of central tendencies. Measures of central tendency. So measures of central tendency are just different types of data or different numbers that are used to represent typical values or used to represent an entire set of data down to just one number. Okay? We use these a lot in statistics, and these values are actually very useful in making decisions in finance. So 3 measures of central tendency that you've probably heard of before, and we're going to use again, are mean, median, and mode. So the mean are just the typical value of a set of scores. And it's determined by finding the sum or in parentheses, anytime you have the word sum, it's just going to be addition, so adding together of the scores. Divided by the number of scores. So if you're looking for the mean or the average, which is probably the word that I'm going to use the most, then you just add up all of your numbers in your set of numbers. You divide by however many numbers you have. You've taken the average multiple times, I guarantee it. The median is just going to be the middle number. So whenever you put them in order from lowest to highest, the one in the center. And then the mode is the most frequently occurring number. So if you have a set of numbers where you have a couple ones and you have a couple twos and then you have 12 threes, then you can see that the threes would be the most frequently occurring number. Okay, so here we have an example of a set of data points that we can perform statistics on. So the 3 things that we're going to be looking for are the mean, the median, and the mode. Okay, might actually need a little more room for the mean, but we'll see. So the mean, again, is what we consider the average or the typical number to describe the data set. So if we take all of these numbers and add them together first, so we take the sum. So we have 13, 13, 13, 13, 14, 14, 16, 18, and 21. Okay, and we're going to divide it by the number of numbers that we have. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We divide that by 9. So the top, whenever we the top of the fraction whenever we are computing the average or the mean is going to be the sum of data points. Okay? And then on the bottom, it's just going to be the number of data points. So however many numbers you have. Okay? And then if we go ahead and add up everything on the top, we're going to get 135, and then we're still dividing by 9. And then if you type that in a calculator, as long as it does turn out to be a whole number, not a decimal, you can use that as your answer. If it is a decimal, then I want you to keep it as a fraction. But for this one, you're going to get 15. So 15 is going to be your answer for the mean, or the average for this one. So moving on to the median. Starting out, we have to begin by putting these in order. Luckily, these ones are already in order for us. So we have 13, 13, 13, 13. So we already have it from lowest to highest. 14, 14, 16, 18, and 21. It's already in order from lowest to highest. Otherwise, we would have to put them in order from lowest to highest. Okay? And we're literally looking for the one in the middle. So we mark one off on each side. Okay? Mark one on each side, each time. And this one's in the middle. So that's your median. That's exactly what you're doing. Finding out which number is in the center of the list whenever you put them from lowest to highest. If we look at mode, I'm going to go ahead and copy the list again. We are just looking for the number that pops up in the list the most. So the number that occurs the most frequently in our set of data. We can see that we have 4 13s, 2 14s, 1 16, 1 18, and 1 21. So you can see that 13 is definitely the most occurring because we have the biggest number of 13s in the list as opposed to any of the other numbers. So the mode for this set is just going to be 13. So to review, we're looking at the mean. Whenever we look at the mean and trying to find or determine what the mean or the average is, we're going to add up all of our data points, so add up all of our numbers, and then we're going to divide that answer by the number of data points that you have, or however many numbers you have in your set. Looking for the median, we're going to put them in order from lowest to highest, and then we're just going to mark one off on the left, and then mark one off on the right, mark one off on the left, mark one off on the right. Make sure you do it one at a time. If you end up getting 2 numbers, so like for say, if we had 30 over here, then we would have marked them off like that, okay? But we would have gotten 2 14s. Here it's a little easier because it is the same number. But the way you do, if you got 2 answers in the middle, and it's an even number, so you don't have a middle number necessarily, you would take these, okay? You would take your 2 numbers that are in the center, add them together, and divide by 2, okay? So it still works out if they are the same number, because you get 28 divided by 2, which is still going to be 14. You're just taking the average of these 2 numbers. You add them together and then divide them by however many numbers there are. In this case, there's just 2. So if you're looking for your median and there are 2 in the center, you're going to add them together and divide by 2. Now, if you're looking for the mode, you're just going to list them out. Okay, I've got them listed out in a way that I can look at them a little easier, but you count however many of each number you have, and whichever one you have the most of, that's the mode. So if we look at example 1, I will go over it. You will be going over example 2 on your own. Okay, so if we look at example 1, it tells us to find the mean, median, and mode of this data set. Okay, so in order to do that, we can look at the data set and look at the mean first, okay? You don't have to, I'm just choosing to. So the mean is when we add all the numbers together and then we divide by the number of numbers that we have. So we would have 0 plus 1 plus 7 plus 9 plus 12 plus 13 plus 5 plus 1 plus 9 plus 3 plus 9 plus 99 plus 12 plus 13 plus 9 plus 16 plus 9 plus 7 plus 9 plus 10. So that's all the numbers in the list, in the set listed up there. And then we're going to divide by however many numbers there are. So if we count them out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 numbers. So we're just going to divide that by 20. So again, on the numerator of this fraction, we have the sum of the numbers, so adding them all together. And then on the denominator, we have however many numbers we have in the set. If we add all this together, which I have graciously done beforehand, we get 253 on top, divided by 20. So if you type this into a calculator, you're going to get a decimal answer. I don't want decimal answers unless we're looking specifically at money, okay? So we are going to leave this as a fraction. There's no way to simplify it into lower terms. We're going to leave it there, and that's going to be our answer. We're going to leave it in terms of a fraction. So now we're going to look at the median. You would start by putting them in order from lowest to highest, which I have graciously done for us on paper already. So I'm going to keep it that way. So I'm going to put the curly brackets around it because it is a set of data still. That's all that means, is it's a set of data, so it's a collection of data. And then, now that I've got them in order, I can just mark them off one at a time. Okay, so I'm doing on the left and the right at the same time. Okay, and if we do that, we're going to end up with 9. So since we put them in order from lowest to highest, and then 9 was in the center, that would be the median of the set of numbers. And now that we've done that, we can go ahead and look for the mode, which again, I personally think is much easier now that we've got them in order. So we can look, we've got 1 0, 2 1s, 1 3, 1 5, 2 7s, 1 2 3 4 5 6 9s, which you could probably already see that was going to be it. 1 10, 2 12s, 1 13, 1 16, and 1 99. So you can see that the one we have the most of, the one that occurs the most, is going to be 9. So the mode is also 9. So again, to review, in order to find the mean, you're going to add all your numbers together. You're going to divide by however many numbers you have. In order to find the median, you're going to put the numbers in order from lowest to highest. Mark them off on either side at the same time until you get to the center. If you have 2 in the center, you're going to add them together and divide by 2 to get your median. And again, if it is a fraction and you're going to get a decimal, then leave it as a fraction. So like if you had 9 over 2, if you added them together and you got 9 and then you divided by 2, you would leave it as 9 over 2. And then to find the mode, you count how many you have of each number and you determine which one you have the most of. So now I want you guys to try example number 2 on your own, and then when you're done with all of that, you can upload your notes to Google Classroom. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys later. Bye.